I don't think I can say anything else to introduce myself at this point, so thank you, friend. Yeah, I'm gonna share my screen, and hopefully nothing will burn. There we go. I have random wallpapers from Unsplash. Could have been worse. Could have been a worse wallpaper. So I'm gonna talk about from Blender to the web, and basically what we're gonna do is that, let me just move y'all faces over here to the side. What we're gonna do in this talk is get these two little fellas here, and we're gonna put them in a website, basically. So I modeled this. I just want to say that like no copyright infringement has been made, and yeah, so we're just gonna get these bad boys because one of them is very angry, and we're gonna put them on a website. So, as Brent said, my name is Sarah. I work as a front-end developer at Remote, which is a company that, well, basically what they do is that they have companies all over the world, and they make sure that you get hired as an actual employee. As someone who used to be a contractor, it's I do way less taxes now. Everything is easier. And I'm originally from tiny Portugal, next to Spain, and I live in Berlin, Germany, and I love to do stuff in 3D. So I started doing it in the mid-pandemic. I mean, when everyone found out that they had a passion for something random, like bread making or something, I was like, you know what I'm gonna learn? Blender. I don't know why. I mean, I do know why. My dad used to make 3D stuff. That was his job. So, like, and I found it really hard, but at the other aspect of things, it was also very challenging to do. And so it made me, like, you know, want to keep doing it. I also want to say that my internet is usually very unstable, which is a very good thing when you're doing online talks. So if my internet starts failing, please let me know in the chat. I mean, there's nothing I can do, but I can at least be aware that I'm talking to, like, nothing. So yeah, thank you about that. Thank you for that. So if you've never heard of Blender, okay, yeah, no, never mind. This talk's going to be divided into two parts. This part comes first. This talk's going to be divided into two parts. So first we're going to be in Blender, and we're going to be exporting this like model from Blender in a way that the web can read it. And then we're going to actually put it on the web. We're going to be using Code Sandbox for that because it's nice. So if you've never used Blender and you don't know quite what it is, so Blender is a free and open source 3D software application. It's completely free and it's completely open source, and like you can take part in the development if you want. I don't, because I'm not smart enough to do that, but you can. You can also build plugins. They're in Python, so that it's a really nice community in general. The reason why 3D is in as like a the word in English is missing to me, but it has a thing, an asterisk. There we go. Is because Blender also supports 2D. For example, there's something called Grease Pencil that allows you to actually draw in 2D. And it actually does like video editing, which I do not use for that, but I've heard that the 2D stuff is really good. I also want to point out that if you use Blender like a long time in the past, like I did when I was like 17, which was a long time ago because I just turned 30 and I'm having existential crisis 3 times a day right now, it looks way better. Like the entire internet does, to be fair. Okay, so let's do it, right? Okay, so this is our beautiful cup boy. Why is it a boy? Because everything in Portuguese is gendered, and a cup is a man in Portuguese. So there you go. Is a boy now. We call him Cuppy Cup. Okay, let me switch mouses. And yeah, so... Okay, there we go. Is it not moving? Okay, there we go. It's kind of moving. Okay, so here we go. So we have this boy right here. And let's start with showing what these, like, this is very daunting at first because there's like a lot of buttons. Like everything is a button. And it's true, everything is a button. So what we have right here, Jesus Christ, it's very slow, I'm sorry, is, for example, up here we have 4 things, right? And one thing that I want you to know is that Blender has 2 different types of rendering, which is like getting your meshes, which are like your cubes, planes, whatever, into actual like PNG images and models for the web. And one of them is Eevee, which is named the same thing as a Pokemon. It's written slightly different, but the same idea. And so Eevee kind of works like 3JS. So Eevee is not a realistic renderer. Eevee fakes light, basically. So it uses like AI and a bunch of if statements to make sure that the light makes sense in what is showing. So like if I move this, For example, you can see that the light kind of like moves. It's not very stable. And that's the reason. It's because it's calculating it in real time. So if you think about video games and things like Unity or Unreal Engine, they do the same thing. So they calculate these things in real time. So they use, like, I don't know the name of the engine, but like this type of engine. And there's also something called cycles, which would be the thing that will make your computer go berserk. Will go like completely, like, you think you've heard MacBooks make noises until you run like something like cycles on your computer. I have a Windows computer, so I want to point out that while it is possible to run Blender on a Mac, it is impossible to enjoy Blender on a Mac. Because of the, like, this mostly uses a lot of graphic cards, a graphic card that MacBooks just don't, they don't think you need a graphics card. Like, why do you need a graphics card? You record your computer and you do something else and everything dies. So the difference with cycles is that, for example, for every beam of light, and you can imagine that like a light bulb does not just have one beam of light, every single one of them is calculated as in like where does it hit and where does it go, which is very intensive on your CPU and GPU, so it will kill your MacBook, I'm just saying. So like if you want to get real deep into Blender, I'm sorry to tell you, but you're probably going to have to get a Linux or something else that actually includes a graphics card. Or you can just always use Eevee, which is also an option, and that works fine on Mac. Okay, so let's just do two things here, and then we're going to close Blender, and we're going to go into like the territory of React.js. Wow, React.js. I haven't like used the word React.js in a long time. And I like AngularJS. This is not weird, that's why I'm making small talk. Like, it's very slow, and it's just like not doing the thing. I think I broke Blender. It didn't work, Brent, because it took too long. Yeah, no, I definitely broke Blender. I broke Blender. No, wait, did it unbroke? Okay, do not use Blender on a MacBook. Like, okay, I'm gonna do the beautiful thing of like just shutting it off and starting it up again. Again, Blender is an open source software, right? Did you ever use an open source software that has no bugs? Also, I would like you to know that Blender crashes a lot. So if you do start using it, save a lot. Like every like 2 minutes you have to save because it will crash. And sometimes it crashes at the randomest things and you're like, oh, I'm gonna render this. And then it crashes and you lose everything. Okay, there we go. See? Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so we have this here, right? And this is our material. Let me go back to the beautiful AI if statement. Maybe. Will I? Yes, I did. Beautiful. Okay, so we have this color right here. So imagine that you want to change this color and you want to make it something else. So usually all you really need to do is to go over here and you have the color here and you can change it to whatever you want. So if you want to make it blue, now this is blue. So in terms of creating these materials, Blender actually makes it quite easy to do so. But we have to get out of here, otherwise I think my computer is going to die. I want to point out that it's usually not that slow. Okay, so how do we export it, right? So let me select the mug here. And one thing that you should always do is select hierarchy, because like one mesh is kind of like a div. Actually, that has nothing to do with the div. But one mesh can have several meshes inside of it. So in this case, the mug has other meshes inside of it. So in this case, it has a circle and a circle too, which are the names that I gave the things because I named things. So I actually, okay, yeah, circle 2 is that thing at the top, and we also have the mug. And the circle, the other circle. I should name things. So you select the hierarchy. So you come to File and Export. And if you're exporting for the web, I would always advise to use GLTF, GLB/GLTF. And I'm just gonna put it on the desktop for now. And it's not the, and we're gonna call it the boy. Sure, why not, right? So there are two types that you can use to export. There's GLB, which is JSON binary, and there's also a GLTF, which is just JSON. So for this case, I'm going to use GLTF. I would tell you to use GLB in most cases because it can be slightly smaller, but honestly not that smaller. Do never forget to limit to selected objects, otherwise it exports everything. There's also, make sure to click Y up. So let's talk about this part, which is really funny, which is that in Blender, you have like X, Y, and X, Y, and Z, while 3JX, Y is up, And like, I think Unity and other ones use different things. So if you think the web can get this shit together, try to do anything in 3D. Seriously. So, and then you can go to geometry. Don't forget to click apply modifiers and compression, because that makes things smaller. That makes sense. And you're like, yes, Sarah, that makes sense. That's what compression means. Yeah. And now we wait a bit because, you know, I'm recording my screen. That's why it's also incredibly slow. And now I can maybe close this. Don't save. Beautiful. Look at that night sky. Looks like I have looks like I've been watching Buffy for the past 3 years. Is this like doing the thing? I think it is. I think it's. I'm really sorry. I don't know. My computer's like having serious issues right now. I think I have to kill other stuff. Okay, there we go. Okay, that is slightly faster. So right now we don't have anything here, right? We only have something that says coffee. And what we want to put instead of the coffee is the cute little mug that we just created. Like, we didn't create it for nothing, right? So, and for that, we're going to use React Fiber. And we're going to use something else that's called, I have to click X to get to it. That's called Gltf Js. So if I go here, gltf.pmndr, I don't actually know how to say their thing, but yeah, so we made this to basically, you can drag and drop a GLTF file here, and it will transform it into React code, which is pretty cool and honestly kind of impressive how they made this. I just made the web app for it. I didn't actually make the tool that actually, there's a lot of blotches. I've been creating a website about blotches. So there you go. So you just drop it and it will automatically give you a model that you can use and a little cup boy. And he's on the web. And thank you. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Okay, so let's copy this model over here. Right, we already have React 3 Dry installed, so we don't need to install that. And we also need to paste the model in here. Right, so I'm gonna come here, and apparently I still have the old one. I can delete it, come here again, and paste this. And now we wait just a little bit, because it has to upload the file. I should have thought about this earlier. But there we go. Okay, so still got an error, and it says because I am exporting two things. Okay, that makes sense. So let me delete this, call it model. And now what we need to do, the first thing is to just mount this. It's not going to look good. I'm just going to warn you, right? I'm going to delete this div, and I'm just going to mount a model, right? Okay. I don't know why I keep saying right. I think I keep saying right because I'm like not being able to delete this goddamn div. So let me just mount this model, and we're going to get an error. See, I was aware of that error. And what this error means is... A second, let it reload because it had to do the thing again. But what this error basically means is that we're trying to mount a model, which is a React 3 Fiber object, but we're trying to mount, this error is not the one that's supposed to show up, this is a code sandbox thing. But the error is, we're basically trying to mount it on a DOM, which is not supposed to be it. So we need a canvas. So we need to import a canvas, and that comes from React 3 Fiber, and then we just import this model. And we should be okay, and we are not okay. Come here. Is it gonna do it? How much do you want to bet that is it gonna do it or not gonna do it? It did not do it. It did not do it. So we're gonna have to download this file. Last time I did this talk, I was like, I'm not going to trust Code Sandbox because I don't work at it anymore. And I don't know if it's going to work, right? But this time I was like, nah, I'm going to use Code Sandbox. Mistake. Okay, so I'm going to show you the terminal that I use, which is called Warp. And it's pretty cool. And I'm sorry to be wasting everyone's time. But I can control these things. Come here. Even my terminal's taking a long time. There's new features in Warp. Okay, cool. This talk is going great. So CD back. What is downloads? CD, what was the name? Dnugget. It's a really good terminal. And let's write yarn and yarn dev or yarn start. I'm not even sure which one it is. Since I typed yarn dev, I'm almost sure it's gonna be yarn start. It is yarn start. I closed Chrome. I shouldn't have closed Chrome. We're good. Everything's okay. We're gonna be okay. So, do y'all want to talk about anything? So let's open this up first so we can take a look at what is in it actually. So if I open up the source, oh my god, that is so much faster. We go to the app, no, not the app, the site.js. We can see that the biggest issue, the issue that we were having was that we didn't have a canvas. So now we have a canvas, so it should be okay now. And what this means is that it's getting this Gltf file and it's preloading it into your page. And then you're actually using it here. So this goes to public/deploy.gltf by default, because that's how Create React App works. And then we have a group, and you can think of a group as a div, basically. So this one actually is a div. It's like a div of 3JS and GLTF. The idea of it is that it can have multiple meshes in it, and a mesh needs a geometry and a material. So in this case, we have materials.mug, as you can see, and we have the geometry of the circle, and we also have all of this stuff, which all comes from these nodes and materials that we get automatically from React 3 Fiber. So a lot of these stuff you don't have to write, because to be fair, I don't think any of us would be able to write all of this stuff. It just sounds very painful. Yeah. So we're gonna do this and we're gonna open it up, but it's not gonna look good. And that's another thing that I think always important to know about when using something like 3JS and React 3 Fiber or 3D in general, is that if there are no lights, there are no shadows, there is no anything. So you can actually see anything. And that's exactly what's going to happen as soon as we open this. God, I hate Berlin internet. It's so slow. Look at that. You can actually see it moving. You can actually like legit see the thing like slowly moving to the other side because it's so slow. Yeah, I would say the best alternative is 3JS. But the thing about 3JS is that it's very verbose. There's also one for Vue, which is really nice. But if you just want to do vanilla JavaScript, you kind of have to use 3JS, which is like everything is built on top of 3JS. But the thing about 3JS is that it's very verbose and just hard. Like 3JS is so verbose. Like what I'm doing here would take way longer in 3JS. But like so much, like a lot. But you kind of have to use it if you just want to use vanilla JavaScript, because everything else is built on top of it. Yeah, you can also ask me questions, which actually would make this experience way less terrifying for me. So that would be really nice. And I'm gonna close the activity monitor here. I should start using my work computer for these things because it's like slightly better. How is this still loading?
There is already a question if there is good.
Yeah, no, I answered that. You kind of have to use 3JS. So React 3 Fiber is built on top of 3JS, and all of these tools are basically built on top of 3JS, which makes it that if you want to do something like that, you kind of have to use 3JS. Like, I'm really sorry, I don't know what is happening. Like, my computer is just not moving. And it's like, why are you still starting this development server? And I'm really sorry for, like, wasting everyone's time. And this is literally the worst nightmare of anyone who's ever had to give in a public talk. Is like, literally your computer stops completely working and you can't finish your talk. Yeah. Like,
But
you just...
Fine. You're still fine.
I'm not fine. I thank you for saying that, but at this precise moment in my life, I am not fine, no. Starting the development server. Come on. Come on. Otherwise, I'm going to give up on you. Because you're also, like, in this position, right? You're, like, in this position of, like, if it doesn't work, like, what the fuck am I going to do? I can't just, like, leave. Like, you can't just, like, you know, walk away and leave. I just need to start doing talks that are not about React 3 Fiber and 3... oh, no. Okay. Oh, no. God. I know what I need to do. This time I do know what I need to do. So I need to come to github.com. That is not how you write GitHub. GitHub. God, we use GitLab at work. So it's like spamming my things now. But I think this actually worked. It did open something. No, it didn't. Okay. We're gonna go here and we're gonna download the package lock. Which is actually a yarn lock. Okay, Blender. So, like, I feel like everything that could go wrong except my internet dying, which actually would get me off of this situation right now, is happening right now. Which is great. I'm very happy about this. Copy this yarn log. It also feels like now I have to finish this. Come on, just copy this. Just give me the tooltip. There we go. Yeah.
If it doesn't take your full concentration, I'm curious how you got into 3D stuff when you started during the quarantine. Like, what was your first step? Did you just download Blender and start like modeling things?
So I used to, like, my dad used to, it was like a 3D, he made like buildings and stuff in 3D as like part of an architect firm. So I already seen stuff like that, but that wasn't really what I was interested in doing. But yeah, I basically I researched it again, and I was like, what is the best thing for me to use? Because I remember when I was younger, I illegally downloaded Cinema 4D. But I was like, I'm an adult now. I'll just download Blender for free, but legally. So that's what I did. And I downloaded Blender, and I Googled some stuff like good ways to get started with Blender, and I found this course about building like this sushi thing from a creator called Polygon Runway, which that one is completely free. And I was like, okay, this is what I'm gonna try. And I really like fell in love with it because of the fact that I think it's kind of artistic, but it's also very mathematical in the way that you have to build things. And I like that, so I didn't want to go like full artistic, because I think that when you get to that point, like, I'm not very good at that point. I need some sort of like grounds to stand on that's like, if you do this, it will be fine.
I totally know what you mean. Yeah, it's same for me with like generative art stuff. It's like, don't give me a pencil and a piece of paper.
Generative art. I tried. I tried, and I was like, I don't know what colors are good. I don't know what colors are. What are colors even? And yeah,
download the colors library.
God, I still have issues with that. I can't understand. Like, I can't. People sometimes, like, they do things and they have certain colors. I'm like, where did you pick that? Are you seeing the same color picker that I am? How did you find this? How did you find this pretty color? And you get like this really crappy blue, and you're like, why? Why is life like this? Why can't I pick a pretty color? Yeah, so that's the thing. So I think CRA will now work. Is this why people started using Next.js? I think this is why people started using Next. I think
it's one of the reasons.
I think it's one of the reasons that even I started using, like, this is not like other people. It's like, including me. Like, wow. Yeah. Wow, I could have made coffee at this stage. Starting the development server. You know what this reminds me of? Starting WordPress. What?
Florian's asking in the chat, have you already used 3D models on websites? And he's wondering how you would implement them in a, quote, normal website.
Okay, so I don't know what a normal website is, but I made this website, which is definitely not a normal website. It's still starting. I just want everyone to know. But there is a 3D model in there, and there's a bunch of them just flying. And yeah, so that's the thing. And with the Pomodoros organization, we also have a market. And this market is actually just a bunch of Gltf assets that you can just download for free. They're completely free. CC0, most of them are CC0. and you don't really have to, like, you know, tell anyone that you're using them. I'm sorry, somebody's calling me, and my headphones just went bananas. Yeah, so you can download them here, and as you can see, like, everything is just an... Okay, this is just not working. And I opened Apple Music by mistake.
That's Apple Music,
Yeah.
I know. It might be easier to, I don't know if you're planning on using it for the rest of the talk, but if you just share like a GitHub link so that people can look at it afterwards, that could be another way to just work around this potentially.
I just want to show this one. And yeah, so this is what you, like in here, you can download all of these assets and you can copy the direct link. And then you can just get like a cute little, like download a model and just download it. So I'm just gonna go on Code Sandbox and put this goddamn model on a website. Because apparently like everything else is hating me. But at this point, like I feel like I have to. Because everyone has to see that it's actually not hard. It's just like my computer just despises me. And I feel like everyone thinks that it's really hard now. Right? But it's not. So let me go on the Gltf website again. Then let me Command F this bad boy. Drop this one here. Close as much stuff as I can on the other monitor. And that's not it. I think the JavaScript wasn't ready yet, so that was nice. Why are you not closing? Thank you. I clicked on it. What the hell? Is everyone seeing the fact that I'm being able to move this browser window with a file? Because that's honestly kind of impressive. That's not supposed to happen. I just want everyone to know. Okay, so we are at the same spot. Here it is. Okay, let's copy this. So I can just copy and paste this. Come over here and create a model.js. And then, if I paste this, I need to install React Dry and React Fiber. So React Dry, and add React 3 and Fiber, React 3 Fiber, and I also need to install 3JS. Right, cool. So we have this model. We need to upload it here on Code Sandbox as well, and there we go. All done. I think, yeah, there we go. And this app.js, if I just try to like mount this model, right, which is getting exported, it's like in the middle of a div, you know, just for the funsies. And I need to import it, that makes sense. It's not importing because I'm not using TypeScript, so import model. From model. And now we're gonna get like, I think an actual error because again, needs to be wrapped in a canvas. So yeah, you get absolutely nothing, right? Okay, so let's wrap this in a canvas. That comes from, again, from React 3 Fiber. I think that uses TypeScript, so I think we're gonna be okay. I'm not importing it, that's fine. It's honestly not the worst thing that can happen. See, I helped someone get it done. I helped someone. See, I can do this. I promise. So let's import canvas, which is from React 3 Fiber. I think maybe I should like, you know, clean this computer. Okay, cool. That's saved, I think. And now it will reload, it's transpiling the modules, and we should have something. Everyone just like, is it actually gonna happen? Is it actually gonna happen? Can she actually pull it off? I can't, because you need fallback for canvas. It's actually very correct. So what happens is, this model is a promise. So we need a suspense, which comes from React. So we need a suspense. Wow, the self-importing here is just now working. Suspense, and we need a fallback here. Sorry, that was a weird Portuguese character. Just ignore it. We all have weird characters in our language. Except the Americans. The Americans don't really have, like, weird characters. We have weird people, but not characters. And import this from React. And now it will reload again. And you look at that. That is a terrible thing that you can see right there. There is a goddamn model. Okay, how do we make it look good? First thing that we're gonna do is make the canvas full width. So I'm gonna delete everything. There we go. Thank you. Literally, apparently one of the hardest things I've ever done. So height is gonna be 100 VW, and width is gonna be 100 VH. Oh, actually, this is VW, this is VH. Okay, there we go. So now it's full. It's full width. And the next thing that we need to do is we need to put a light in there. Because like I said, if you just do something like this and there is no light, it doesn't actually show anything. So there's a couple of lights that we can use. The most common thing to use is an ambient light. Oh, it was typing. I just stopped. Okay. So, and if I just put an ambient light right now on this page, you can see that you can see something over there. But let's make it better. So the thing about ambient lights is that ambient lights do not cast shadows. They don't cast anything. They're just like lights that are there, right? And that's not really what we want. I don't know why this is not 100%. Okay, but there's something that comes from React.Dre, which is called a stage. And if you just want to present a model like we want, we can just import stage from... Wait, how did this work? This is not typed properly. React 3. I haven't had to type imports in a while, and I don't even use TypeScript. So, what if we just wrap this around the stage? So let's delete this. Right now, this ambient light, we don't need it. And let's wrap this on a stage. And what this is going to do is basically like literally that. Like it's going to create a little stage for it. And as you can see, it actually has a shadow right now, but it's not full width. And I need to understand why. So let's open this in a new tab. Because to be honest, that is not the worst thing that has happened in this talk. So that's fine. I can just open this in a new tab. Like I can fix CSS, right? We can do this. So I'm just going to fix the CSS and then you're all free to go. Because Thomas looks bored. And I understand. So let's inspect it. Oh no, it's a code sandbox issue. Okay, cool. So, and as you can see, we have him. My God, I may cry right now. Okay, so let me reload this because that's the issue, actually. And we have a 3D model on a web page. So as you can see, it's not hard if your computer doesn't hate you. Yeah. So yeah, I guess that's about it. You have a little beautiful 3D model. If you want to animate it, it animates like everything. Oh yeah, that was the issue. It animates like everything, so you can use stuff. Like, at this point, like I can't remember anything, but you can, I promise you. So you have this group, for example, and so like if I want to animate this node, which I have no idea what it is, or move it or something, I can say something like use frame, which comes from, I think, React Chapter. Yeah, I mean, I think, I'm not sure. And I can say, so group dot currents dot this equals, I think it's like state. Okay, let me do this. So this gets state, and I need to import this from React 3 Fiber. Frame from React 3 Fiber. And now I should get TypeScript definitions of this, I'm guessing. Maybe. Invalid left-hand assignment. Yeah, I know. Or I don't get. Okay, you can change this to 2, for example. Use frame. Yeah, okay, I don't have to remove it from here. I can just put it here. And, like, that is what does this person mean? The point is, you can just animate it. It was going well, so I kind of had to, like, ruin it. But if you want to move something, you can use frame. And use frame, what it does is that it runs every second. And yeah, it's pretty cool. And then after that, you can just, like, animate things for every frame. Orbit controllers, orbit controller. Put it here and import this orbit controller from React 3 Dry. I'm pushing. But the idea is that if this works, and it doesn't, I guess this is not how it's called. The fact that like God. Like the fact that the imports are not working, like automatic imports, is being really painful because I genuinely do not remember doing things like that. Like just having to type all the imports. I feel like we've been broken, but it is what it is, you know? So what
I
orbit
think it's just
control
missing
does...
an L in this case. Controller
Where?
with 2 L's. Before the E.
See? Like, what? I need the... Like, what? It's like everything is hating me right now, except you, Brent. You're a nice guy. Thank you.
Thank you.
And what this does is that if it works now, what you can do is like move around and see the actual element and zoom in and out, which is pretty cool because like you can actually see it in 3. Oh my god. It's making me angry now. Okay, there we go. Sure, why not? Should have used the other one. It's orbit controls. It's not orbit controller. Okay.
My bad. That was my fault.
And controls has 1 L, not 2 L's. And apparently this also needs to rebuild every time. Like it needs to transpile all the modules just to add orbit controls to it. Come on, come on, come on. I swear someone laughed, and honestly I laughed too. Yeah, so there you go. So now you can just like move around and check it out. And you can also have like an auto rotate thing in here. But this is just for like showing, and this just auto rotates it. But there we go, it is in a page. And I am gonna shut up before I remember to do something else, and it's gonna like just break the rest of my computer. And I will share the GitHub thing. So it's in the next slide. Wow, even this thing is slow. Okay, so the GitHub is here. Let me just open it, because it does have a sandbox that was working, at least before. Like literally a minute before I started this talk. Maybe it isn't anymore. So, and you can use the sandbox that's in here if you want to check it out, what I was supposed to make. And you can also download this project, and if you can run it, it would be fun. You can probably run it because you don't have my computer. It's totally fine for you, it doesn't hate you. So if you want to open this blend file, it's also here. You can use it for anything you want. I don't care. It's completely CC0. You don't have to like tell me that you used it. Tell me, I mean, tell me if you want to make me happy. But like,
Okay.
So probably our internet is also
my
broken.
internet died right in the end. It was like, you're fucking done. Oh, God.
Beautiful.
Oh.
Well, good job working through all of those issues. It seems like everything that could have gone wrong went wrong for you.
You don't say, Prince. You don't say.
Yeah. Yeah, so definitely I would recommend checking out the 3D stuff. I think it's pretty cool. I've been playing with it a bit recently as well through the 3JS Journey course. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Blender, I'm not so sure about because it seems very hard. So
It's very
good on you
daunting
for
at first.
Yeah.
It's also, I think another, like an issue that Blender kind of has is that it's like, there's no actual buttons for everything that you need to do. So you kind of just need to remember a lot of like, Control L plus Shift D and stuff like that, which I'm terrible at. So yeah,
Yep.
it is daunting, but it's not hard. Like being daunting is different from being hard. It's just as you don't know it that it
Right.
seems scary. But like if someone that does Blender looks at your code, they're gonna cry, right? Because they have no idea what the hell is going on. Like it's not because it's bad, it's just because they don't know. Right?
Right.
Like it's
Fair enough.
it's the same idea.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, yeah. Thanks
they're
a lot
very
for going through that. Does
Honestly,
anyone
probably
have?
for the editor.
Yeah.
Someone
There you
asked
go.
if they're Vim key bindings. There's actually a text editor in Blender for like developing the plugins. Probably there, yes. I'm gonna go with someone has probably made that.
That's the
I'm
same
gonna
thing.
definitely go with that. Yeah. Thank you, Pat Matt. Thank you. Blender is great. Blender is great. So, does anyone else have any questions, thoughts, fears? You're very welcome. And I am really sorry. I don't know what happened today, seriously. I am more than happy to do this again, and I will do it on my Linux computer, which will actually work, which is the one where I usually run Blender. So, yeah, so like if you want to set this up again and I can do the thing again, I will be more than happy to. So yeah. It was not a great presentation. You don't have to lie to me, Chester. Chester, just you had fun, and I'm glad you had fun. But yeah. So thank you so much, everyone. And again, I'm really sorry.
Thanks, Sarah. If you say sorry again, I think people might start thinking that you're Canadian, and that's me. So I'm gonna have to, gonna have to
tone
take
it
my
the
word
fuck
back.
down. Okay. I don't.
Cool.
I apologize.
That's acceptable.